This is the Sales Babble Podcast, episode 458, the 2023 Sales Planning and Goals Show.
Welcome to Sales Babble, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
Hello, Sales Babblers. This is Pat Helmers, and welcome to the Sales Babble Annual Sales Planning and Goals Show. As I mentioned last week when we were babbling and chatting with Neil Christensen, I pledged that I'm a strong proponent for yearly goal setting. Now, some people laugh at New Year's resolutions. They think they're silly and something that you should be doing all times of the year, and I don't disagree with that. But I believe that January 1st is a terrific chance to take a moment, to give pause, and to reflect on what really matters to you. This is the thing. Life is brief, and it's important that you not squander a single day and that you are totally present to the wonder of today and now. I urge you to live the next year with intent and being mindful of your aspirations, because I deeply believe this is a noble cause. As the Tao teaches, life is in constant ebb and flow. Notions that we have today may not happen as we expect. That's a given. Pandemics, major life changes, all of these kinds of things can muck up the best laid plans of mice and men. But it's better to execute on a bad plan than to wait for a perfect plan that never, ever happens. In the show notes at salesbabble.com, I have a template. It's a Google Doc that I would love to share with you. Click on that link and make a copy of it for 2023. It's only a one-page sheet. At the very top, it has a vision statement, and I think it's really important for you to have a mission, a vision of where you want to go. For example, last year, my vision was abandon chance and live a life of intent. The next thing the sheet asks for is your top 5 big goals. Any more than 5, you're going to lose focus. Yep, the goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. You're probably heard of SMART goals. They're all about that. That's nothing new here. What's really important is that you have them in a place where you can see them all the time. I post my list in my medicine cabinet so I can keep them at top of mind. But the top 5 goals, that's not where this plan stops. It also requests 3 more lists. The values that matter to you, the reasons that you want to do these goals, and tactically the key behaviors that you will express to make this all happen. One key behavior that I've been using is daily journaling. I do a Stoic journal based on the idea from the philosopher Epictetus. Now, some people do it at the end of the day. I answer the questions first thing the next morning because I'm a morning person. That really doesn't matter. But what does matter is I ask myself 3 questions. The first question is, what did you do well? The things that I ask myself when I answer that question is, who did I help? What little accomplishments did I achieve? Was there a magical or some noteworthy moment that really made me smile? And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be something small. Or maybe it'd be, what did you create that didn't exist before? That's the first question I answer. What did I do well? The next question is, what did I do poorly? And I look at things where I missed the mark, where I was maybe short with somebody, I was impatient, maybe I was cruel, maybe I was sloppy, maybe I was doing something slovenly, maybe I ate too much or ate poorly, or maybe I slacked off on working out. But somehow or other, where did I not live the behaviors that I aspire to be? The last question, number 3, is what are you going to do to become a better version of yourself? And what I commonly do is I look at the 2 things that I wrote in number 1 and number 2, and I come up with some resolution to do better and to be better and to create a pledge or a plan that will have steps to make my aspirations become reality. And just to reiterate, all of these are done in the context of my goals. Now, tactically, I only write a few sentences. I do it in longhand in a paper book so that I stop the distractions of electronic devices. I write the date, the day of the week, and the number of steps that I walk because that's really important to me. Sometimes I also put a little few letters of something noteworthy that happened that day. In the book, I simply write the number 1 so I know what the number 1 question is. And then I do the same with questions number 2 and number 3. These are big entries. They're only maybe 10 lines, 8 to 10 lines. And it's certainly your journal. You can do whatever you want, but this is what I do. Journaling has been a game changer for me. What I've experienced is transformational success, but it's in small incremental steps. Small changes add up over time. Over the years, I've become more patient, less judgmental, more generous, more focused, more creative, more productive, and most important, happier. My wife, Denise, has really noticed it. When I started doing this 4 or 5 years ago, within 6 months, she was like, "Guys, you're just a much nicer guy." So you shouldn't have regrets in life, but one thing I do kind of regret is I wish I had started doing this when I was in college. One other thing, before I write my diary, I usually read something inspirational, like it could be Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, most certainly Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, and I have multiple translations of the Tao. Each one is eye-opening. Also, last year I read Henry David Thoreau's Walden. This spring I read Marx's Communist Manifesto, which, by the way, I really disliked. But now I can speak about it with confidence. Or something more positive, Bob Berg's The Go-Giver. And Bob has been on the podcast. I love to read books that make me think. I may agree with them, I may not, but I think that's a really important thing and a great thing to do first thing. And doing that first thing in the morning has been very powerful. Lastly, when I want to talk about goal setting is I also am a strong proponent of having a daily to-do list. Yes, all my prospects are in a CRM. I use the CRM to make it easy for me to keep up on everybody. But in the morning, I think it's really important that you make a list of 3 to 5 things that really need to happen, and you keep that list with you all day. I use a square Post-it note. And as the things get done, I scratch them off. If something doesn't get on, it carries over to the next day's Post-it note. And you get to throw away the old one, which is very satisfying. This is simple, easy peasy. I have tried a million online tools and apps, but I have found that this simple paper Post-it note is the simplest and the quickest way to stay on track. As you know, I'm a strong proponent of Taoism's philosophy of Wu Wei, frictionless action, as it's said in English. I have stopped trying to will the world to my favor, but I've learned to accept the world as it is. I work with it like a log in the river, like not trying to paddle upstream, but go with the current. And when you do that, you go much farther. For me, it's about mindfulness and knowing oneself, and this includes knowing my talents, my limits, and accepting myself for who I am. And understanding our gifts and what matters is the surest path to creating a life of joy. I hope this helps you. I urge you to take action on this year, to access the links that I've shared in the show notes, and that you create your own set of goals for 2023. With that said, that's all I've got for today. Until next week, Happy New Year. And good luck in 2023.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.